TV. They had a piano there, and this particular day that I was there, because I love playing the piano, I might not have been formally trained on it, but I would just play on there and make up my own stuff. And out of nowhere comes a priest, and he sat next to me and asked me, do I want him to teach me how to play it? And he's sitting on my right side, and I think I glanced at him like one time and looked down, and I was pretty excited that somebody was going to teach me the notes on the piano. So I was really like, next thing I know is a hand goes right into, my private area. And it was a shock because I was not expecting that to happen. And nothing like that has ever happened to me at that young age. I wasn't ever exposed to anything like that, so it took me back. I didn't express it, but I gave him a look of like, basically you motherfucker, and he got the hint right away that I was not going to tolerate this, even though he had violated me. So I didn't tell my mom. I carried this burden with me till today, with my full obligation to the church and my faithfulness to the church. And I felt a devotion that I needed to keep this to myself, and keeping this secret really has eaten away at the core of who I am. It's shaped so many different aspects of my life. Well, that situation happened once. He was basically a test pilot and searching to see if I was a willing participant. Another time it happened at the church during when they had a fiesta, and that one was a lot worse. I was basically helping to bring chairs in so that when we had, they were going to have a meal. And he was another visiting priest, it happens to be, it seemed like, and because I'd never seen this priest before, and I pretty much knew all the priests from, being at the other house. And so there was a main church and then that house where that occurred. And so this was a fiesta that they had every year. So we go there's a bunch of people standing around. He asked me, could you help me go and get the chairs? And so we go in there, and I'm confronted face to face, and I'm just pretty much in my mind, go ahead, just do what you're gonna do. And I was kind of, challenging him in a way to see if this was really gonna happen. And next thing I know, his hands are down my pants, and I basically cupped my private areas, and I just darted out there. And I think at that time I started, after that first thing happened, everything went down, so I started pretty much smoking pot and smoking cigarettes and being more rebellious because I was just coming into, having puberty. And I think that's what they were attracted to. And they knew better that I wasn't that type of kid that they could do that to, because I pretty much blocked them. And it was an ongoing pursuit, for them to try to get me to do that. But like I said, I would block it. No, just plain ignorant and not letting their signals or their verbiage coax me. So it was a hard thing to deal with. I mean, it's just as bad as the things that happened to me. The first occurrence and the second occurrence of the situations. They didn't do it because I wouldn't let them. But if I would have surrendered, I would have been a continuous victim. Well, I know for a fact at the house, not at the church, that the apartment that was there was used for that. And that's what I'm speaking of not paying attention to the movements or the coaxing of going up to that apartment. Well, we couldn't talk about it, you know, it was a supposed secret. You didn't talk about it, you didn't mention it, you didn't acknowledge it. It was just an ongoing situation that, you know, it's like an elephant in the room and nobody sees it. Well, we all knew what was going on. It's just something that you don't speak of. You have to be there, and you had to be in the situation because all of a sudden a kid would disappear. And special kids were brought in, you know, for that purpose of going up to the apartment. Or it's such a, I don't know really how to express how it all takes place. I mean, it's kind of like a card game, you know. I'm sure if we get a hold of and find these kids, that they will come forward.
Do you know any of them?
I know a couple that, my brother for sure, but he will not come forward.
Your brother for sure knows them, or your brother for sure was a victim?
My brother was a victim. I know for sure, but I've spoke to him about it, and he will go to his grave with it. But you can tell by his demeanor. Right now he's really ill, and he will go to, and like my mother, go to any lengths to protect the secret. And that's the whole reason why I'm doing this, is because hopefully they'll see my face and they know who I am, Bruce Martinez. So the Cynical House in Orange, is that. So if you were, there's plenty of us that go around, and you know the apartment, and you know what happened there, and you know all the people that were involved. And I'm sorry this happened to you, but it's time we put an end and let them know that this was inappropriate. This really screwed up our lives. I wasn't a willing participant because I was, no, not them, but I'm telling you, I was hit on all the time. It never stopped. A seduction, you know, them going on and trying to get me. I mean, this is something it was a combat every time I went there, and I did my best, and it worked. I mean, I played so dumb that they literally thought I was dumb and that I couldn't catch on to it, but little did they know, I was a lot more smarter than they were. Well, if I could explain it this way, like I've expressed to you and to my attorney, Anthony, that I'm still stuck on that piano bench to this day, and it's affected my life in many ways. Till this day, I have not matured probably in the way that I should have. I got onto drugs and alcohol, and I got in trouble. It confused me in my sexuality. I don't have a family today and a wife because I just don't understand my sexuality. I didn't understand why this was going on, and every part of my life has become affected. My family life, my professional life, my growth as a human being, just my whole aspects of who I am. Absolutely, without a doubt. I mean, had that not happened to me, maybe today I'd be married, maybe today I'd be secure in my sexuality, maybe I wouldn't be so insecure about it. Not only my sexuality, but insecure about my whole self and self-doubt. Well, the Trinitarians, they have all that information logged, and they have the names of everybody that attended there. So I believe if they would just give up the information, that we could find these kids, because like you said, it's been years that I've seen them, and that's why I'm like, come out wherever you are, there's nothing to hide. Just come forward, you know, there's nothing to be afraid of. I am trying to lead as an example of being your courage, I guess, and pave a way for you to come forward, because there's nothing to worry about, and I'll protect you. I'll protect you in any way, and I'll be with you in every step of the way. Well, to live a better life, and the whole reason for me to do this is because I need to get rid of my baggage, and I can no longer let this bring me down, and I need to start my life over again and put an end to being a victim and not even being a survivor, but being a whole person without this stuff dragging me down anymore. I will not be a victim. Well, it's funny you mentioned that, because today I was talking to a friend of mine, and I could almost swear that I was drugged at night as a kid. It was so deep. I would have moments where I don't know, I would wake up and I just knew something bad had happened to me while I was sleeping. So who knows? Yes. Yeah, definitely. I mean, through drugs and alcohol and stuff like that. But I really believed that when I remember the way that I felt as a kid, and that something was happening to me at night. And I felt like I was raped at night. Just things weren't normal. Well, I had a lot of stomach problems, and so I believe because maybe I was penetrated, that caused like problems with my stomach. So I would frequently have pains and trauma to that area. I would almost want to bet that they were allowed to go in there, because I would have lapses. I mean, of course, when I'm sleeping, I would have lapses of memory, but just things didn't work out. No, this was at my home, ironically, because you have to remember, my mom worked for these priests. She worked for Bishop Brown, and Bishop Brown was accused of child molestation. So I was at the highest level here in the city of Orange, and so they had full access, and I really believe that my mom orchestrated a lot. Though I don't want to bring her down, I can't say 100% that she would do that, but she's abandoned me, and she's left me hanging to dry. And I've been an outcast in my family, and because I'm not a participant. And my brother, I believe, might still be working for the diocese, and so it's generational with my family. I spoke with my dad just recently, and he said that, I asked him, Dad, were you ever molested by the priests there at Holy Family? And he said, when wasn't I? So we have generations of being, I hate to use that word, but of being victims, sexually abused. It's just not me, it's my father and other people. So this is my family. They liked us because we're not going to tell, but I'm accusing. He was a principal in Anaheim at the Catholic Church, and he was shipped from place to place to place. And at the time I'm making my accusation, he is right there on the spot at the time of being the principal and visiting the house. So this priest that I'm accusing fits the profile, he fits the timeline, and he's been known to be, and he was convicted of multiple child molestation acts. So you can place him there. Well, he went as far as he could go with my pants on. You know, I mean, And he got a full like fill of whatever was, there at the time. I mean, I'm pretty much a young boy, so there really wasn't much to fill, but he pretty much grabbed everything that he could. And I was penetrated definitely by, but that was, waking up in the morning and having, it's so deep, the Catholic Church.
Yeah.
They do many, many things that you won't even understand unless you're involved in it. I mean, I was a day-to-day, like not a day-to-day, but pretty much an event by event, like victim of stalking, and being preyed on. And so I was fighting that. And to live like that as a young man, that's a horrible way to grow up. Well, the church knows exactly where they held me. And I was a hostage to the church. My family was a hostage to the church. And that whole victimization is what shaped my life. I could not move an inch, like, in my life and I rebelled so much because of my family's interaction within the church. I could not come forward and tell anybody what would happen because maybe my mom would lose her job. Yeah. Maybe, this would happen or that would happen. And I mean, I live under that fear today. That same fear has not left me. That same fear is like, what's gonna happen after this? What am I gonna have? What recourse is gonna come and get me because of this? I'm really scared, and I'm afraid, but that's okay. I was afraid and scared then. I've been devastated by this, but I'm putting an end to it today. So nothing has changed. I went to the church recently and asked them for help, and they just denied me. They denied, giving me any help. I'm like, I need help. I am going through a lot. Will you guys help me out? And nothing. They just, no, like we can't help you. Get out of here. And that's the way they treat me, like I'm a nuisance to them. And so I was like, you mother, you know what? Yeah. Like, how could you do this to me? You've ruined my family life, you've ruined my life, and you know who I am, and you're turning me away. And up until this point, can I mention like what they're doing?
Yes.
So they're sending me to therapy. Finally, after coming up with these accusations of what's going on. Oh, okay, now you're going to help me? Not back then when I asked for help and not bringing this up, but now that I'm bringing this up, you want to send me to therapy? Like, forget you guys. I mean, forget all this stuff that now you want to help me. Well, they have me on a treatment right now called MDR, and what it does is it suppresses memories. Well, I need to get rid of these feelings. I need to get them out of my head, and I will do anything to stop thinking these thoughts. Like, I don't need to keep reliving them over and over. Probably over a month now, because I stopped seeing the therapist. Well, actually, maybe I've been doing it altogether for maybe 3 months, because I was seeing another therapist. Now I'm seeing another one. So maybe 3 months now I'm doing it, and anybody that knows what MDR is, you know what it's about. I have, and she recently filled out a survey for the church, and she believes that I've been affected by that molestation 100%. She showed it to me, and she believes that it's affected me 100%. Her name is Lisa, and she knows what happened. She is concurring with me that it's I mean, I didn't state that it's affected me 100%, but she is, through her observation as a professional, is saying that this is, all I'm doing is expressing what happened, just like this conversation. She is, yeah. She was hired by Sylvia to treat me. As far as I know, she is in cahoots with the Catholic Church. I'm not dumb. Just the way she's working, I know she's with them. She can't play me for a fool. Well, I had an FBI agent who was working for the diocese, like look into it, and he's not on my side. He said he was on my side, but I mean, when I went to go try and get some information from there, he screamed and yelled at me and told me I was a mother effer and that I was a piece of shit and so forth and so on, and just screamed and yelled at me, and I just said, bro, this conversation is ending, and I hung up on him. Well, maybe that's happening, and maybe that's why I'm not recalling, because I'm with objects in my hands and lights going back and forth.
That's to get you to suppress memories, which would deprive you and the court system of the evidence they need to get you the maximum compensation.
Well, I mean, I believe they're helping me, and then again, I believe that they're not. So. Well,
they're helping you to suppress your memories.
Yeah.
But that very act kills your chances of getting the maximum recovery.
Right. So they're not helping. So they're not helping me. They're just.
Yeah,
they're hurting
themselves.
They're helping themselves.
So that you can never come up with the evidence you need to justify the maximum recovery.
Right.
I think the more sensible thing to do is not suppress your memories. Remember the things that are needed. Get your maximum recovery, and from that money, use some of it to go to a neutral therapist who's going to help you.
That isn't working for them.
Yeah, that isn't working for them, because their goal is different. Their goal is to suppress your memory so you cannot file and get the most compensation.
I never thought of it that way. I was thinking of it as, me helping myself, but now that you say it, I can understand better, this is what they're doing.
Yeah, well, they're making you believe that again, and the only reason this therapist is doing that is because she works for the church, not for you.
Right. And she acts like she doesn't, but I know she does, just by her whole demeanor. But I let her think that way, just because I need to get over this. I need to move on with my life. I don't want to be a victim anymore, and I've got important things to do in my life still, and that I want to get done. But
we're convinced that the legal system is able to provide you a lot of remedies. There are some requirements in the law.
Yeah.
That is that you specifically recall and testify to the things that are considered a crime.
Right.
Yes, the fact that they grab your private parts is a crime, and there will be some compensation for that.
Right.
But it's not the same as if you testify that they
penetrated me.
That's going to be a lot more.
Well, see, if I had given them the chance to, I would have been molested repeatedly. I would have been a victim continuously. So it's very important that people understand that I was victimized on a frequent basis by the seduction. And that is just as harmful as anything. So, be that as it may, that I did not give in, and that, should anybody have to, have their guard up all the time?
No, they don't. They shouldn't, and it is wrong, and it is legally compensable. It could be a lot more compensation if you do remember the penetration. That now is additional injury of a different level, which entitles you to even more compensation. So you can think about this now that you know that while she's telling you she's going to help you suppress memories, that helps them more than you, because they don't want you to remember the things that will enable you to get a lot more money from the church.
Right.
So
a lot of things, I blocked, a lot of things I have blocked with drugs and alcohol. I'm sober today, and I moved forward with my life. That is just a momentary thing, and I've grown, and it's been hard, but I've grown to be a more secure man. But I need to get rid of all the baggage.
Okay, is there anything else you'd like to share with any?
Well, just if you come forward. Don't be afraid. If you need me to be with you, I'll be with you. Just know that I'm here, and you get a hold of my attorney to be with you, and I'll sit with you, and you know you don't have to be afraid.